okay, so the numbers went up, and that's what I expected, right? We all expected that, right? That an 18-year-old is probably going to surprise make different decisions from a 58-year-old. No doubt. Okay. Here's what I want to get to with that. The reason I asked that question, thought it was interesting, is because the thing about it is that when you talk about investing, most investments you make have nothing to do with money. But they have to do with valuable resources. And so when you're 18, you have your youth, you have all the options in the world. You can be whatever you want to be. You have lots of free time, you have lots of energy, lots of attention. You have lots of things that your potential is through the roof. And I think that what we should probably do as investors, as a community of investors, as a community of people that want to break generational curses, as a community of people that want to better ourselves, is I think we should encourage our young people to really sit down and really think carefully about where they are, like have consciousness about, like, look, I want you're 18. I want you to imagine yourself as a 28-year-old. Imagine yourself as a 38-year-old. Imagine yourself as a 48-year-old. Imagine yourself as a 58-year-old looking back on when you were 18. I want you to, because a lot of times when you're young, you're just there, you're just living, you're just sort of you're unconscious. You're making one decision after another. You're not really thinking too deeply about what this is going to look like when you look back on it 20 years from now. But I can tell you one conversation I had with my dad, it wasn't even a conversation, it was a comment. When I was 17, I remember I was trying to figure out what my next move was going to be. I wasn't the guy that I am now. Now I understand a lot of things I didn't understand then. But I was making my next move. And my next move was sort of built on short term gratification, short term security, short term challenges, right? Like, how do I get $100 so that I can get me some shoes? How do I, when I leave the house, how am I going to have a place to live and some of that? Because my daddy didn't play that whole like live with your parents till you're 30 type thing. We didn't do that. Um, and I remember he said, boy, you better get it together because one day you'll wake up at 35 years old and wonder where your life went. And at that time, at 17, 35 seemed like great grandpa age. Like in my mind, 35 is like, okay, your life is over now. Okay, you've had your best years are behind you. And I remember, but just him saying that, just that one sentence made me say, yeah, I guess when I'm 35, I want to make sure I like the life that I've created for myself. So I better get to it. I better think through the next decision that I make. And when I did get to 35 and beyond, I started to pay attention. I never forgot what my father said. It was one sentence. This is the thing. Like, never underestimate the power of just one little conversation. And I never forgot what he said. And I started to notice in my 30s how many people were in their 30s and they did not like the life that they had in their 30s. They were, it was almost like they didn't know. They were like, how did I get here? Who did this? Who created this life that I'm living right now? I didn't expect to be married to this person and have these kids and live in this house and drive this car and have this job. And what's really interesting is that when you go back and you piece it together, you realize that this life was built like a house, like building a house with a series of steps, and in many cases, a series of very short-sighted, unconscious steps that you built this structure that you now have to live in. And if you didn't sort of consciously think through the structure, then it can end up looking much different from what you expected. It's like the difference between somebody saying, I want to make a painting of a building and planning it out and designing exactly how everything's going to go versus somebody just taking the brush and just being like, right? Sure, the abstract art can be absolutely beautiful, but it's also very chaotic, right? And sometimes our lives can be chaotic because the steps that were taken to build that life were chaotic steps.